my beautiful book besties, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Liv and today we are going to be chatting all about my fall TBR. So, for my fall TBR, this is going to be books that I want to read, hope to read. They are like my priority list, but you do have to take this list kind of with a grain of salt because I do have weekly themed vlogs planned for the next couple months, and some of these might be included in those vlogs, but there's also some vlogs that I didn't want to spoil or give away. So some of the things I'm going to be reading this fall are not in this video, but if anything, I hope you can use this list as recommendations for yourself. We do have quite a variety of books, including some horror or cozy horror. We have fantasy, of course. We've got quite a few graphic novels that I would love to read because there are so many I still haven't read. So there's definitely a little bit of everything in here for everyone, but these are going to be like my top priority picks for the season. I'm keeping these on my TBR cart back here and I hope to get to all of them. If not, they will probably just be bumped to like December or November. I am not going to sit here and ramble any longer. You guys know the drill. I am going to talk about these by genre. Some of them have not come out yet, but I did talk about them in last week's video or 2 weeks ago. I'm excited to talk about fall books. I hope you are too. Grab yourself a fall cozy drink and let's just get to it. Starting us off with an absolute must this fall is Foxglove, but not only Foxglove. Wisteria comes out in just a couple weeks. I'm going to be anxiously awaiting for the UK edition like this one. I hope it comes to me the week Wisteria actually drops, but if not, I do have Foxglove to hold me over. I feel like this book does not need an introduction, but if you don't know anything about it, Belladonna is the first book that you are going to want to read. It is a YA kind of dark gothic romance. There's mystery, there's gothic vibes, there's like a manor. It almost feels kind of Regency, but without all the fluff. This series is like nothing I've ever read before because Death himself is very seductive, but also really spooky. So for obvious reasons, because this is like a 5-star series for me already by just reading the first one, this is definitely going to take top priority for me this fall. Along the same gothic tones of Foxglove and Belladonna, we have One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. I actually started reading this last year. I only got the chance to read the first page before I had so many other things I had to read, but let me tell you, the eerie, creepy factor and the writing itself, absolutely phenomenal. I knew this was going to be 5 stars. I decided to wait to pick this up during a time where I could really focus on it and to even pick it up on a rainy day when the vibes are just going to be perfect. I love the way the synopsis is written. Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mislocked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. This definitely has a lot of similarities with Belladonna already about kind of this eerie nightmare person being in her head. That just sounds really creepy and absolutely phenomenal. So I feel like there's going to be a lot of parallels between the two, and this definitely has a high chance of being a 5-star for me. Next, we have a book that I've been itching to get to all summer long, but I keep telling myself, wait, you're going to want to wait. You're definitely going to want to read this in the fall, and that is Where the Dark Stands Still. I've never heard of this author. I just know this is like dark fantasy cottagecore and it takes place in the woods and it's almost like a fairy tale retelling apparently, which I am totally on board with all of those things. What dark secrets lie hidden in the spirit wood? Liska knows that magic is monstrous and its practitioners are monsters. She has done everything possible to suppress her own magic to disastrous consequences. Desperate to be free of it, Liska flees her small village and delves into the dangerous demon-infested spirit wood to steal a mythical fern flower. A bargain seems better than death. 1 year of servitude in exchange for the fern flower's wish. This cover alone with like the gate and everything, just there's something about this that has just been calling my name, and I believe it was even a Barnes & Noble book club pick at one point, so I am so excited for this. I feel like it is so underhyped because I already know it is going to be so incredible. The next book on my list is one that I did start, and many people have been begging me to read this because they know how much I love cute, cozy, witchy vibes, and that is the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. The biggest reason why I am bumping this up on my TBR is not only because the vibes sound perfect, but because this author, I believe, is actually coming out with her second book, and the cover is also stunning. It's also witchy, and I'm just so excited to get to it. This one, I believe, is about a girl who is hiding the fact that she's a witch, but she ends up going to this orphanage or something and becoming like a witch trainer of some sort, and I think she ends up falling in love with one of the guys there. I know this is just gonna warm me to my core, especially if I'm reading a lot of dark things. This is gonna be a good palate cleanser. This book just sounds like the perfect fall Olivia book. The next book I have here is one that actually was released just a couple days ago. That is A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. I have quickly fallen in love with this author. She has some type of like bittersweet way of telling fairy tales where it's dark but there's great humor. This one is a dark reimagining of the Brothers Grimm's The Goose Girl, rife with secrets, murder, and forbidden magic. I've actually never read The Goose Girl and I don't know much about it either, so this is gonna feel like a brand new book to me. I don't know what to expect, but T. Kingfisher just knows how to write, and I'm just so intrigued by her concepts and the way that she writes, so I am very, very excited to finally have this in my hands. Now we have a couple new releases that I'm very excited for that have yet to come out, but these are like my top couple that I know I'm going to drop everything to make the time to read. One that I cannot talk about enough is Erin A. Craig's new book called The 13th Child. I mean, look at these skulls on this cover. This is going to be incredible. This is the story of Hazel, a young healer navigating a ruthless court to save the life of the king, grappling with a pantheon of gods with questionable agendas as she fights for agency and true love in her own life as the goddaughter of none other than Death himself. We have gothic vibes, we have death involved. It almost sounds kind of more like a mythology type of setting, and knowing Erin A. Craig, she is just going to do it all so well. No matter what she does, I will read anything that she writes. I really need to catch up on more of her backlist, but you can bet your bottom dollar I will be at the store the morning at 8 a.m. when this book drops. Next, we have An Academy for Liars by Alexis Henderson, who also wrote The House of Hunger. I've seen this author around a lot, but I'm gonna be honest, the synopsis of her other books is not necessarily intriguing to me until I heard about this one. I also believe it's gonna get a lot of hype, but I think it's already like an Illumicrate or Owlcrate possibly choice. This one is gonna be a book for all the Dark Academia fans out there. Lennon is someone that I think can compel people in some way or some form. She goes to this academy with other students and there's a lot of like deep dark secrets. I think there's even like a dark society, and the last sentence is honestly the thing that sold me. For it seems that the ultimate test is to embrace absolute power without succumbing to corruption, and it's a test she's terrified she is going to fail. The gothic horror mystery academia, there's so many checkboxes here in this book. I am just hoping to get completely sucked into this world. I've heard they're a very atmospheric writer, and honestly that's all I need. Next, I have a book that I'm a little bit skeptical about because this author and I do not have a good track record, but Lucy Undying, this cover is honestly what's selling me. Not only that, but this is about a vampire that escapes the thralls of Dracula himself in order to find true love. That is all I know, but the fact that this has to do with Dracula and vampires, I feel like it's a no-brainer to put on your fall TBR. I don't know, I'm a little bit scared, but I'm seeing pretty good early reviews, and I know this author does know how to write. I've enjoyed the writing. It's just the synopsis or the stories in general I haven't been intrigued by. I know she's written Hyde, which was also kind of horrific, and I know she can write that well, so I'm very excited to see how she includes those elements into a fantasy book because she's also written fantasy. So I think this is just going to be a very interesting combination, and I hope she can pull it off well. We are now getting into some horror books, and you guys know that I'm not actually like a horror reader, but when I tell you that I have recently fallen in love with Darcy Coates, I mean, I've definitely gone a little bit crazy. My top priority this fall is just to read more of Darcy Coates' backlist. I feel like I need to just do a whole vlog dedicated to her, so if that's something you want to see, definitely let me know. But I have recently hauled 4 more of her books, which I got secondhand, which is super awesome. But the first one is her YA book that came out this year called Where He Can't Find You. It sounds so incredibly weird and creepy, but because it's YA, I'm hoping she keeps everything a little bit on the down low. The back just says, "Don't walk alone or the Stitcher will find you. Don't stay out late or the Stitcher will take you. Don't close your eyes or the Stitcher will remake you." I'm already scared. Like, this cover alone is just insane. I'm obsessed. I want to read this right now. The next one that recently came out or was published physically is Ghost Camera. This one is about 2 best friends who stumble upon a Polaroid. It's just an abandoned Polaroid camera, but there's something very weird with the images that they're taking. There's like this ghostly figure that seems to be following them around. I don't know why, I don't know what for, but I'm very intrigued to find out. We also have Hunted, which is about a girl who goes missing in the woods. They happen to find her camera that has some very weird, disturbing images on it, and I don't think they can find her. I hope they find her in the end, but there's definitely some interesting paranormal things happening, and I feel like this one's gonna have a great mystery to it. And last but not least, I have the Folcroft Ghosts, which is about 2 siblings whose mother is hospitalized. They end up moving into their grandparents' house, and I guess in this town there's talk of a sister or a person that drowns at the lake nearby, and that has something to do with the whole mystery of this small town. This one is actually very short, which would be great for a readathon. It's 260 pages, and I've heard this one's really good. I just love the mystery and the plot twist that she weaves into it. Like, if I'm gonna read a horror book, I want some type of mystery thriller element, and this is my jam. I have easily and quickly fallen in love just by reading one book, and I cannot wait to read more this season. So if you have a personal Darcy Coates favorite or recommendation, please leave it in the comments, because I am more than happy to track it down and add it to my list this fall. Next, I want to talk about kind of some more horror mystery thrillers that have been on my list for ages. First, we have the Mary Shelley Club. I've heard great, amazing things about this. I don't know what it's about at all, but I do love Mary Shelley. It's about a club that keeps secrets. They have to go through this fear test. They have to pick a target, and there's like some type of game. So this sounds like a very intense YA thriller, but I just eat up YA thrillers, especially around this time of year. I've really been enjoying getting back into Holly Jackson, and so I feel like this is going to be the next step for me. I personally just want to focus on getting through a lot of like backlisted books I've had on my shelf for ages this year, because there's always going to be new releases coming, but I feel like I'm missing out on some really good ones. Following along on the same lines is Stalking Jack the Ripper. This is a series that I have seen like since the beginning of my YouTube career, and I just feel like I would really love it and really enjoy it. It says, "He murdered women in cold blood. He terrorized an entire city. He taunted those of us who hunted him down. But despite all those horrors, in the end, I could not deny it. I was the girl who loved the Ripper." Like, what the heck? It sounds so creepy, and there's like these weird utensils on the back, and I've heard nothing but amazing things. So I feel like this is gonna be really dark but really fun. The next book that I've been holding out for the fall season, I've almost picked it up many times, but that is the Invocations by Krystal Sutherland. I still own House of Hollow, which I've heard good things about. I feel like that one would also be a great fall read. I think it has to do with like witches or has some witchy vibes, but this one apparently is about a supernatural serial killer of some sort on the loose. I've heard great things about this. I've heard people love it even more than her first book. I feel like the fall time is going to be the perfect time to pick this one up, and I mean, the front is even kind of creepy. So even though it is pink, I feel like this is going to be a really spooky story. Next, I have Cutting Teeth by Chandler Baker, which is one I picked up recently, and I've been debating reading this one because I've heard it's more domestic and almost more suburban moms, but sometimes you just want an easy story that you can fly through, and apparently all of these moms have vampire babies. So I think this is definitely going to be a commentary on motherhood, which I personally don't mind. I'm not a mom yet, but I feel like this is going to be one that's really fun, and I've always wanted to try a Chandler Baker. We have a lot of people on the back that have blurbed this that I personally like El Casimano and Ashley Audrain. So I feel like this is going to be a great palette cleanser and not quite be like super spooky, but still be like thrilling, and I don't know, it just sounds really unique. And the only new release thriller that's coming out the rest of the year that I can even think about squeezing into my TBR at this point, it is The Last One at the Wedding by Jason Recolek. I feel like a lot of people have been looking forward to this ever since Hidden Pictures. Personally, I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It was so creepy. I think points of view from children or like creepy children just, oof, it makes it so much more realistic. And I don't know what this one is about. I'm not gonna lie, I know nothing about it. I don't know if it's gonna kind of take a paranormal route. I don't know if it's gonna be like more logical or if it's gonna be domestic, but it has taken him a few years to come out with it, so hopefully that means good things. Okay, next I have 2 fall romances that are topping the rest of my books this year because we do not have time to read a million fall romances. I wish I did, but I might even read some more in November. But the top one I want to read is Happy Medium by Sarah Adler. I have heard really great things about Sarah Adler, and this one sounds adorable. We have a baby goat and we have a ghost here. I just feel like the vibes of this are so fall already. A clever con artist must convince a skeptical sexy farmer of his property's resident real-life ghost if she's to save them all from a fate worse than death. And I feel like the ghosty farm vibes is an atmosphere that I haven't necessarily read before and I haven't really seen in romance books. So I think this is just going to be a fun, cute time to break up a lot of the darker books that I'm going to be reading. The only other romance that I am so excited to get is Given Our History. I think this comes out in September. Look at that cover, you guys. That cover is so cute. This is about a couple who are both professors at a university. That's pretty much all I know, but I love the fact that this takes place at a university because, again, that is another setting that I don't typically see. It's like a teacher romance story. I think this is going to be really cute, perfect for fall, hopefully a lot of atmosphere going on, and I don't know. I'm just excited to read from some new romance authors. I really want to branch out and see if there's any like new authors that I'm excited to read from. Another book that is kind of random, it is a non-fiction, but Kelly Bishop is coming out with the 3rd Gilmore. We know fall time is the perfect time to start a rewatch of Gilmore Girls, which is what I'm going to be doing, and the fact that we get a Kelly Bishop memoir, I'm just so excited. I'm so excited to hear about her perspective about being on the show and life. I love her humor. She seems like such a sweet person. I really hope she's planning to narrate this herself because I'm probably going to get the audiobook. I personally really love a biography. I haven't read a really good compelling one this year yet. I felt like this was going to be the perfect choice to put on my list. Okay, we're finally getting close to the end of this list, but one I did want to sneak in this fall is Ravenfall by Kaylin Josephson. I actually have one of her YA fantasy books, and this one got so much hype last year. I mean, the cover itself looks so fall. I'm not like a spooky middle grade person, but I do love a good fall atmosphere. 13-year-old Anna Ballanque has never been normal. Her family uses their psychic abilities to help run the Ravenfall Inn, a magical B&B between the human world and the other world. But it's hard to contribute when your only power is foreseeing death. I actually saw the second one in stores yesterday, and I should have bought it because I have this feeling that I'm absolutely gonna fall in love with this book and this series. The good thing about middle grade is you can fly through it super quickly, so this is just gonna be perfect to pick up on a weekend and read in one sitting. Real quick, I wanted to run through the top 4 graphic novels on my list this year. A couple are older and a couple are newer. The first one I have is Wait Till Helen Comes. I've almost read this recently so many times. I actually know nothing about Wait Till Helen Comes. I just know there's Helen who like comes back to haunt these kids or something. I know this is a middle grade story that a lot of you possibly grew up reading, but this is the graphic novel form. It does read a little bit more comic style and I don't love the artwork. This might actually be more young adult than it is middle grade, but wow, I just saw something really creepy. I'm already scared, but I think this is gonna be perfect, especially for like Halloween weekend. Next we have Snapdragon that came out quite some time ago. You can find friends in the strangest places, and I'm so confused why this girl has antlers on her head. Jax is a Crocs wearing internet savvy old lady who sells the skeletons of roadkill online. It's creepy, sure, but Snap thinks it's kind of cool. Snap gets to know her and realizes that Jax may in fact have real magic, and I really like the concept of this one. I like how we're gonna get a friendship dynamic thrown in here. This one did come out 4 years ago, but obviously it still intrigues me to this day because it has pretty high ratings, so I'm crossing my fingers that I also give it a high rating. Next is a newer released by Remy Lay called Ghost Book. I don't know if you can see that like holographic kind of title. This book looks so creepy. It's about this girl named July Chen who actually sees ghosts, and there's a time of the year or time of the month where the other world is opened up to our world. It sounds really creepy, and I also really love the artwork. I think it's gonna be a really fun time, especially for like a 24-hour readathon. Last but definitely not least, I have The Ghoul Next Door, which is one that I've held on to for quite some time. This one is about a boy who feels like he's being watched and feels like he's being followed, but I think he ends up befriending this ghoul or this other creature, which honestly looks like Gollum. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I feel like this looks like Gollum and I'm already creeped out. But I do know a big theme in this story is friendship, which I feel like a lot of middle grade has, which I personally love. Well friends, that was a lot to take in. I talked about a lot of books. I don't even know how many I actually talked about, but I have quite a variety. So this is all going to go on my TBR cart for me to choose. But before you leave, definitely leave me a leaf emoji. We just want to sprinkle the comments with fall and just make it look like fall. But also tell me your top priority read for this fall season, whether it is a new book or a backlist book or a dark gothic fantasy I should add to my list. Anything that you want to give me, whether it's a book recommendation or one you want to read, I am all ears because this time of year is my absolute favorite time to read. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and watching this video. I have very big plans for all the fall videos to come. As you can tell, I started a little bit early, but I have zero regrets, and I just can't wait to get into this fall season this year. So thank you so much for clicking on this video, stopping by, watching, supporting my channel. I love you so much, and I will see you in my next video.